प्यारा दोस्तों, my dear friends, in the next few minutes I wish to give a presentation on inspection, search and seizure under section 67 of the GST Acts. I will also give a small comparison between the inspection, search and seizure under section 67 of GST Act and the search and seizure under section 132 of the Income Tax Act. Why? Because section 132 इनकम टैक्स एक्ट के जो सर्च एंड सीजर है वो हम ज़्यादा जानता है, we are familiar with that, and we always take this inspection under one section 67 as if it is an inspection under section 132 of the Income Tax Act. After that, I will also give a few statutory provisions and the downside of an inspection. What can happen, what worse can happen to you. ये inspection के बाद में आपको क्या हो सकता है, तकलीफ हो सकता है, that also I will tell you, and how to handle these inspections or after the inspections. Firstly, I will make the difference between section 132 of the Income Tax Act and section 67 of the GST Acts. The power given to the income tax officials are much more wider and the implications are much more larger. There, during inspection, they can take the statements of the staff or the people who are in charge of the books and accounts. They can take statements and that statements can be used as an evidence against you. आपके खिलाफ evidence की तरफ इसके use कर सकता है आगे proceedings के अंदर में. That power is not there in GST Act. Secondly, they have got the power to inspect a premise or a place which is authorized by the authorizing officer, and they can inspect everything over there, and they can take anything from there or take an inventory of everything. Whereas in case of the GST Act, the powers are limited, which many people have not noticed that, but it is limited. They can, if the authorizing officer has got in his opinion that certain books, things or documents which could be useful for any proceedings or relevant to any proceedings are secreted in any place. Secreted का मतलब means it has been छुपा के रखा है. तो हमारे बिजनेस के अंदर, मेन प्लेस ऑफ बिजनेस के अंदर में छुपाने का कोई मतलब ही नहीं है, क्योंकि उधर ही देखना है तो उधर छुपाने का मीनिंग ही नहीं है ना. तो that difference we have to understand it. But many people ignore this difference. Now I will come to a few other statutory provisions. चार्जिंग सेक्शन और आपको ऊपर जो टैक्स देने की जो लायबिलिटी जो आपको दिया गया है वो सेक्शन 9 और 10 ऑफ द जीएसटी एक्ट के अंदर है, which is further modified or controlled by, governed by section 11, 12, 13 of the GST Act. 11 is about assumptions and 12 and 13 is about the place of the time of supply. कब से आपको टैक्स लायबिलिटी आता है वो उसको बता देता है, टाइम बता देता है. Now section 16 talks about the input tax credit, your right to take credit on the inputs on which you have paid the tax. 17, 18, 19, this is all wrong. Or this section 16 can be read with all these provisions in section 16, 17, 18 and 19. As long as जब तक आपने पूरा टैक्स भरा है सेक्शन 9 और 10 के अंदर में, एंड जब तक आपने इनपुट टैक्स करेक्टली आपने सही लिया है, तो आपको कोई इवेशन का कोई मीनिंग नहीं निकलता है. जो आपको सेक्शन 72 के अंदर में कोई नोटिस सस्टेन नहीं कर सकता है. सेक्शन 72 कैन बी सस्टेन्ड ओनली व्हेन देयर इज एन इवेशन ऑफ टैक्स. Also, other than the evasion of tax, there has to be some more allegations. Short payment, non-payment, unlawful refund, or wrong availment of input tax credit. Either of the four has to be there. Plus, they have to also have suppression, misstatement, or fraud. Either one of them should be there. Without this one of these allegations, and without one of the previous four allegations and an evasion of tax, it cannot be sustained. The section 74 notice cannot be sustained. Section 74 is the place where they can determine the tax, also 100% penalty and also interest. So as long as you are done correctly as per section 9, 10 and 11, 12 and 13, and input tax credit has been taken under section 16, 17, 18 and 19, there cannot be a sustainable section 74 notice. Now we are aware, we may not have done this, but still we are afraid of it, because when the inspection happens, when they come, there will be some mistakes, and we are afraid of that mistakes. They may take some statements. Legally they cannot take a statement there. Plus there can be some books are missing, some entries are not there, some entries are not posted, stock register is not there, some mismatches are there, some taxes are not paid in time, it was delayed, some taxes are, some delays have happened, or some errors are there in something, or certain annual report and monthly report or quarterly report there is some mismatches. We are afraid of it, anything can happen. So we are afraid, we are tense about it. प्यारे दोस्तों, मैं आपको ये बोलना चाहता हूँ, उसके जो power है, there are 4 cardinal sins which is given in section 122 on which penalty can be there. Those penalties are of 2 different types. Penalties which are linked to the determination of the tax and interest together. That is one type of penalty. Taxes evaded, a proportionate, equal or a percentage as a penalty and interest thereupon. That is one type of contraventions. Other type of contraventions are fixed amount of penalties, which are 10,000 rupees or 25,000 rupees. So this, we should be worried about those 4 cardinal sins on which they can determine the tax and penalty and also in interest. What are they? Issuing of, making supplies, goods or services without invoice. That is violation of section 9. Availing of input tax credit without corresponding receipt of the inputs actually for your business. That is violation of section 16. Other than that, there are 2 more. Collecting tax from the customer and not paying into the government. And issuing an invoice without any supply of goods. These are also cardinal sins, on which there can be evasion of the tax can be determined, equal amount of penalty can be determined, and interest also can be determined. And also, punishment can be given in terms of imprisonment under section 132 for these offences, serious offences. All other contraventions, as I said, are fixed amount penalty contraventions. So you may have to pay that, but you don't have to worry about under section 170, section 74. That is what I am trying to say. However, because of the lack of knowledge, because of the other extraneous considerations, there are many times you receive notice under section 74, wrongly or rightly. We have to be careful about that. We can get recourse to the remedies through the High Court for the show cause notice or against an order passed under the show cause notice after the show cause notice under section 74(9). Both places, either at the show cause notice stage or after the order, we can go get the remedy through the High Court within the period of appeal. We can get that thing. But for that, we have to be careful about the recitation of the show cause notice. Did they allege evasion? Did they allege misstatement, suppression or fraud? Did they allege short payment or incorrect availment of the input tax credit or any wrong refund that has been taken? That recitation of the allegations and the document that they have taken in support, have they shared with you, and what are those documents? Does it reveal those documents, what they relied, does it reveal all these things? That is what we have to see. Plus, whether he has got the jurisdiction. Plus, whether the quantification has been done correctly. For quantifying a tax, they have to first quantify the quantity of supplies. Whether the goods or services, but they have to first quantify that. After quantifying that only they have to quantify, they have to make an effort to quantify it. And then only they have to fix the tax. They cannot say, okay, this much is the mismatch. Therefore, this is the tax. That is not sustainable. We get so many cases in the High Court. Every day 5-6 cases are getting filed on this count. Many are quashed on the natural justice side, on the ground, and they are remanded back to the taxing officer or the assessing officer, proper officer, or some of them are because of the jurisdictional error or because of any other legal error or anything in the merit, we can get the thing quashed. The order itself can be quashed. So this is what I wanted to say. This is the downside of it. What you can take it, what remedy you can take it when a show cause notice comes. I have given a brief introduction. The next episode, I shall try to explain more about how to handle the show cause notices, how to get a proper remedy out of the show cause notices, and or the order which could be impugned on the ground of either natural justice or on the basis of jurisdiction or on the basis of other merits. That I will cover it at a later stage. Thank you, my dear friends.